The massive crystal structure hung in the darkness of space like a frozen star. The Galactic Council station stretched for miles in every direction, its transparent walls showing the swirling clouds of the planet below. Ships from 47 different worlds docked at its many ports, each vessel unique in design and purpose. Some looked like metal insects with many legs, others resembled flowing water frozen in time, and a few appeared to be living creatures that breathed through their hulls. Ambassador Park Hyunwoo stood at the observation deck of the human transport ship, watching their destination grow larger through the thick glass. He wore a simple black suit that looked plain compared to the colorful robes and strange armor of the other diplomats he could see moving through the station's corridors. His dark hair was neat and short, his face calm and unremarkable. To anyone looking at him, he seemed like exactly what he claimed to be, a middle-aged human diplomat hoping to make friends with alien neighbors. Kim So-ra stood beside him, checking her tablet for the 100th time. She was younger than Hyunwoo, with quick eyes that missed nothing and fingers that moved across her device like a pianist playing a familiar song. Her job was to handle communications and keep track of all the different alien customs they would need to follow. She had spent 3 years learning which species required eye contact and which considered it an insult, which ones ate together as a sign of friendship, and which ones found sharing food disgusting. The docking schedule shows we arrive in 20 minutes, she said without looking up from her tablet. The Vorthak delegation arrived 6 hours ago with a full military escort. The Zalari came in that pyramid ship that took up half of Docking Bay 7, and the Eldarans brought their entire diplomatic choir. Hyunwoo nodded slowly. He had read the files on all the major species. The Vorthak were warriors who respected strength above all else. The Zalari were ancient beings who had been traveling between stars when most species were still learning to make fire. The Eldarans were peaceful and wise, communicating through complex harmonies that could take hours to express simple ideas. Each group would judge humanity by different standards. Any word from Earth about the final terms? Hyunwoo asked. Lee Tae-min sent an update an hour ago, So-ra replied. The president approved all our proposals. We can offer mining rights to the Kepler system, shared technology for water purification, and defensive partnerships with any council member that wants them. Choi Min-ho approached from the ship's command center. He was a large man with scars on his hands and a way of walking that suggested he had spent years in heavy gravity. His uniform marked him as military, but his rank insignia were simple enough that most aliens would assume he was just a bodyguard. He carried no visible weapons and spoke little, which made the other species comfortable around him. Station security wants to scan all our equipment before we dock, Min-ho said. Standard procedure for new species. Let them scan everything, Hyunwoo said. We have nothing to hide. This was not entirely true, but the things they were hiding could not be detected by any scanner the aliens possessed. The 3 humans looked normal to every test and measurement device in the galaxy. Their hearts beat at normal rates. Their brain activity showed typical patterns for their species, and their blood chemistry matched the samples Earth had provided years ago. No scan could reveal what Earth's military had learned to do with the human body over the past 50 years. The docking process took another hour. Alien customs officials boarded their ship and examined everything from their clothing to their food supplies. Hyunwoo answered every question with patience and offered small gifts from Earth. Samples of music, recordings of Earth's oceans, and carefully selected artworks that would not reveal too much about human culture. The customs officials were professional, but clearly suspicious. They spent extra time examining Min-ho's military uniform and asked many questions about Earth population, military structure, and colonial activities. Hyunwoo answered truthfully, but carefully, revealing nothing that could not be learned. From public broadcasts Earth had been sending to the galaxy for decades. When the inspection ended, the humans were escorted through the station's main corridors. The gravity was slightly lighter than Earth normal, and the air smelled of ozone and exotic metals. Aliens of every imaginable shape and size moved through the halls. Some walked on 2 legs like humans, others slithered or floated or moved on dozens of tiny feet. A few were so strange that Hyunwoo could not tell where their bodies ended and their technology began. The diplomatic quarters assigned to Earth were comfortable but clearly designed to make a statement. The rooms were smaller than those given to established council members, and the location was far from the main assembly halls. Every species received accommodations that reflected their status in the galactic community, and humanity's position was made clear through a dozen small insults that could be explained as simple oversights. "They put us next to the waste recycling center," Sora observed as they unpacked their belongings. "And the gravity generators here seem to be running at 70% efficiency," Minho added. "The floor vibrates every few minutes." Hyunwoo set his few personal items on the small desk and plugged in his translation device. "It doesn't matter where they put us, what matters is what we accomplish in the assembly." The first formal session began 6 hours later. The main council chamber was a massive sphere with floating platforms for each delegation. The humans found themselves positioned near the bottom of the chamber, looking up at the more established species. The Vorthak platform gleamed with military honors and weapon displays. The Zalari floated in what appeared to be a small piece of their home world, complete with strange trees and glowing mists. The Eldarans sang softly among themselves, their voices creating harmonies that made the crystal walls vibrate with beautiful colors. When Hyunwoo's turn came to address the council, he stood calmly and spoke in clear, simple words. He explained that Earth wanted to join the galactic community not as conquerors but as contributors. Humanity had developed new technologies for converting dead worlds into gardens, for healing injuries that other species considered permanent, and for traveling between stars faster than anyone thought possible. "We know we are young compared to most of you," Hyunwoo said, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber's translation systems. "We know we have much to learn, but we also have much to offer. Earth asks only for the chance to prove that humans can be trusted partners in building a better galaxy." The response was mixed. Some species seemed genuinely interested in Earth's technology. Others asked pointed questions about human military activities in the outer systems. The Vorthak representative, a massive creature covered in natural armor, plates, stood and spoke in a voice like grinding metal. "The humans claim they want peace," Vextar said. "But our scouts report that they have built weapons unlike anything we have seen. They have ships that appear and disappear without using known technology. They have soldiers who can survive in vacuum without suits. How can we trust a species that hides such capabilities while speaking of friendship?" Hyunwoo remained calm. "Earth's defensive capabilities exist because we learned early that the universe can be dangerous. We developed these technologies to protect ourselves and our colonies. We have never used them to attack others who did not attack us first." "But you refuse to share the details of these technologies," another delegate said. "How can the Council evaluate a species that keeps military secrets?" "Every species in this chamber keeps military secrets," Hyunwoo replied. "Earth is willing to share defensive technologies with partners who prove they can be trusted. Trust must be earned by both sides." The session continued for hours. Some delegates asked about Earth's plans for further expansion. Others wanted to know about human culture and social structures. A few species offered preliminary trade agreements, while others remained openly hostile. Throughout it all, Hyunwoo answered every question with honesty and patience, never showing anger or frustration even when the questions became insulting. When the formal session ended, delegations broke into smaller groups for private discussions. This was where the real negotiations happened, away from the formal protocols and recorded speeches. Hyunwoo moved between groups, building relationships, and gathering information about each species' concerns and desires. The Eldarans were worried about humanity's rapid expansion. They had watched many young species destroy themselves through unchecked growth and feared Earth might follow the same path. Hyunwoo assured them that humans had learned to balance growth with sustainability, pointing to the careful terraforming projects that had turned barren worlds into thriving colonies without destroying existing ecosystems. The synthesoids wanted to understand human problem-solving methods. They were machines that had gained consciousness millions of years ago and prized logical thinking above all else. Hyunwoo shared examples of human engineering and scientific discoveries, showing how Earth's people combined creative thinking with careful analysis to find solutions that purely logical approaches might miss. Even some of the neutral species expressed private concerns about human military capabilities. The energy weapons hummed to life around the darkened chamber, casting eerie glows across the alien faces. 12 beings from 6 different species formed a tight circle around the 3 humans, their eyes reflecting predatory satisfaction. Vexitar stepped forward, his massive form blocking the only visible exit from the room. "You see, Ambassador," the Vorthak leader said, his voice carrying through the translation system with unmistakable menace. "The galaxy has been watching humanity for 50 years. We have seen your rapid expansion, your mysterious technologies, your refusal to submit to proper oversight. The Council debates your membership, but some of us believe the question is not whether to accept you, but whether to allow you to continue existing." Hyunwoo remained perfectly still, his hands clasped behind his back in a diplomatic pose. His eyes moved slowly around the circle, cataloging each alien's position, weapon type, and body language. To the aliens, he appeared calm but helpless, exactly what they expected from a soft human bureaucrat. "I see," Hyunwoo said quietly. "And you believe that murdering diplomatic representatives will solve whatever concerns you have about my species?" A new voice spoke from the shadows. The Zalari delegate stepped into the light, her ancient form wrapped in flowing robes that seemed to shift between solid matter and pure energy. "This is not murder, human. This is prevention. Your species carries the seeds of galactic war, and those seeds must be destroyed before they can grow." Sora's tablet chimed softly as it received a response from Earth. She glanced at the screen and saw the confirmation code she had been hoping for and dreading in equal measure. The message was simple. Package delivered. Authorization confirmed. "Good hunting, sir," she said quietly. "Earth acknowledges receipt of our transmission." Hyunwoo nodded once. The recognition codes had been received and verified. Earth now knew that their diplomatic mission was under attack, and more importantly, they had authorized whatever response Hyunwoo deemed necessary. The carefully maintained fiction of his role as a simple diplomat was about to end. A third alien moved closer to the humans. The Metharian's insectoid form clicked and buzzed as it spoke through its translation device. "We have studied human behavior extensively. Your species responds to threats with overwhelming violence. You will try to fight. And when you fail, we will present your aggression as proof that humans cannot be trusted with galactic citizenship." "Clever plan," Minho said, speaking for the first time since entering the chamber. His voice carried a professional admiration that seemed to confuse the aliens. "Eliminate the diplomatic mission, claim we attacked first, and use our deaths to justify quarantining Earth. Very efficient." Vextar's eyes narrowed. "You understand your situation remarkably well for primitives." "Oh, we understand completely," Hyunwoo said, his tone still perfectly diplomatic. "The question is whether you understand yours." The Krillian delegate, a creature that looked like a cross between a bear and a crocodile, raised what appeared to be a ceremonial staff but was clearly an energy weapon. "Enough talk. The human delegation dies here and their deaths will be blamed on each other. Humans are known to be violent and unpredictable." "Before you begin," Hyunwoo said, reaching slowly into his jacket pocket, "perhaps you would like to know what you're actually attacking." Every weapon in the room focused on him as he withdrew a small device that looked like a standard diplomatic credential scanner. But when he activated it, the device projected not his diplomatic papers, but his military service record. The holographic display showed rank insignia, unit patches, and a list of commendations that made several aliens step back in surprise. "Lieutenant Colonel Park Hyunwoo," he read calmly from the projection. "3rd Orbital Drop Regiment, veteran of the Titan Rebellion, the Europa mining conflicts, and the Outer System security operations. Recipient of the Solar Cross for holding Mining Station 7 against overwhelming odds." The Zalari delegate hissed a sound like escaping gas. "Impossible. Our intelligence reports indicated you were a career diplomat with no military background." "Your intelligence was exactly as accurate as Earth intended it to be," Hyunwoo replied. Did you really think we would send helpless bureaucrats to request membership in a galactic community that includes 47 different warrior species? Sora stepped slightly to the side, her fingers dancing across her tablet with practiced efficiency. To the aliens, she appeared to be recording the conversation for diplomatic purposes. In reality, she was activating systems that had been installed in their equipment months ago, during the preparation for this mission. Kim So-ra, Hyun-woo continued, gesturing to his aide. Former naval intelligence officer specializing in electronic warfare and alien communication systems. Expert in 14 different programming languages and holder of the Distinguished Service Medal for actions during the Proxima Station crisis. The sonic device in the Metherian's hands began to emit an uncomfortable whining sound as So-ra's programs took control of its internal systems. Other alien equipment started showing error messages and strange readings as hidden human programs activated throughout the chamber. Choi Min-ho, Hyun-woo said, nodding to the large man who had positioned himself to protect both humans. Former commander of the 5th Marine Expeditionary Unit. Veteran of more ground combat actions than you have weapons in that circle. Expert in zero-gravity warfare, hostile environment survival, and what we humans call diplomatic security. The aliens were beginning to realize that something had gone wrong with their carefully planned ambush. Their weapons were malfunctioning. Their communication devices were showing static. And the 3 humans they had intended to slaughter were looking less like helpless victims with each passing second. You see? Hyun-woo continued, his voice remaining conversational despite the energy weapons pointing at him. Earth has a simple policy regarding our diplomatic missions. We send our very best people to represent us among the stars. And our very best people happen to be individuals who can handle themselves in any situation. Vexter snarled and raised his primary weapon, a device that could punch through starship armor at close range. Military background or not, you are still only 3 against 12. Your human arrogance ends here. Actually, Hyun-woo said, checking his chronometer with casual precision, it's 3 against 12 for about 30 more seconds. After that, the situation becomes much more complicated. High above them, hidden systems throughout the station received activation signals from Sora's tablet. Emergency protocols that had been quietly installed during routine maintenance over the past 6 months came online. Blast doors began sealing sections of the lower levels, isolating the industrial area from the rest of the station. Security cameras in the surrounding corridors developed sudden technical malfunctions. What did you do? The Zalari delegate demanded, her robes beginning to glow with agitation. We prepared for the possibility that galactic politics might be more violent than advertised, Hyun-woo replied. Earth's diplomatic corps has learned to hope for the best while planning for the worst. Min-ho smiled, an expression that looked genuinely friendly despite the circumstances. The station's artificial intelligence now believes this section is under quarantine due to a minor atmospheric leak. No one will be coming to investigate unusual noises for at least 4 hours. The sound of Hyun-woo's chronometer reached 0, with a soft chime. He looked around the circle of increasingly nervous aliens and spoke in the same calm tone he had used during formal council sessions. 30 seconds, he announced. Now I should probably mention that the recognition codes we transmitted to Earth weren't just a request for authorization. They were also an instruction to release certain biological and technological limitations that we normally maintain during diplomatic missions. Vextar fired his weapon without further warning. The energy blast struck Hyun-woo's center mass, a shot that should have vaporized everything from his chest to his spine. Instead, the ambassador staggered slightly and looked down at his jacket, which now had a smoking hole in the fabric but no corresponding wound in his body. Reactive mesh armor, Hyun-woo explained, brushing ash from his shirt. Standard equipment for Earth's diplomatic corps, though we usually hope we won't need to. Demonstrate its effectiveness. The silver blood that trickled from his lip where he had bitten his tongue during the impact was the first sign that Hyun-woo was not entirely human anymore. The aliens saw it gleam in the weapon light and realized they were facing something they had not planned for. Enhanced cellular reconstruction, he continued, wiping the blood away with a handkerchief. Improved reaction times, increased muscle density, enhanced cognitive processing. All reversible modifications, of course. Earth's medical technology has advanced considerably since we first began exploring the galaxy. The circle of aliens began to back away as Hyunwoo straightened to his full height. He seemed somehow larger than he had moments before, his presence filling the chamber with quiet menace. His eyes, which had appeared brown and ordinary in normal light, now reflected the weapon energy with an unsettling silver glow. "You wanted to know about human military capabilities," he said, rolling his shoulders as enhanced muscles activated throughout his body. The station security teams found 12 alien delegates scattered across the industrial chamber, most of them conscious but clearly shaken. Their weapons lay in neat piles, disassembled with surgical precision. Their armor and protective gear showed signs of precise impact damage, as if each piece had been struck in exactly the right place to disable without destroying. Security Chief Nalthak, a six-armed creature from a species known for impartial law enforcement, examined the scene. With growing confusion, the humans stood calmly in the center of the chamber, their diplomatic credentials clearly visible, showing no signs of aggression or hostile intent. Ambassador Hyunwoo was adjusting his tie and looking concerned about the condition of the alien delegates. "What happened here?" Nalthak asked, his translation device converting his clicks and whistles into standard galactic common. "We were invited to a cultural ceremony," Hyunwoo replied, his voice carrying exactly the right amount of diplomatic confusion. These delegates began discussing human military capabilities, and then their equipment started malfunctioning. Several of them fell down and we were trying to help them when you arrived. Vextar struggled to his feet, his armor making grinding sounds where the joints had been damaged. "Lies. The humans attacked us. They have hidden weapons and enhancement technologies." Security teams immediately scanned the humans with every available device. The readings showed normal human biology, standard diplomatic equipment, and no traces of weapon residue or enhancement chemicals. Sora's tablet registered as a basic communication device, Minho's uniform showed standard textile construction, and Hyunwoo's body chemistry indicated nothing more dangerous than elevated stress hormones. "The scans show no evidence of weapons or illegal modifications," Nalthak reported. "However, your equipment shows signs of systematic failure and override." "Did you experience technical difficulties during your ceremony?" The Matharian delegate buzzed angrily, its insectoid form trembling with frustration. "The human did something to our weapons. He moved faster than our targeting systems could track." "That seems unlikely," Nalthak said, consulting his scanner readings. "Human physiology operates within normal biological parameters. Their maximum speed and strength are well documented and fall below galactic average for combat-capable species." Hyunwoo helped a dazed Zalari delegate to her feet, his movements gentle and careful. "Perhaps the equipment failures were caused by incompatible technologies being used together in a confined space. Earth's engineers warned us that some of our communication devices might interfere with certain types of alien equipment." The security investigation continued for 2 hours. Teams examined every surface of the chamber, analyzed the energy weapon, discharge patterns, and interviewed each participant separately. The evidence told a strange story that made no logical sense. The alien weapons had fired repeatedly, but the energy discharge patterns showed they had been aimed at empty air rather than at the humans. The aliens themselves showed signs of precise physical trauma, but the injuries were exactly the type that would result from their own equipment malfunctioning and striking them. Most puzzling of all, security recordings from the corridor outside showed no sounds of combat, only normal conversation followed by the noise of equipment failures. "The evidence suggests that this was an unfortunate accident," Nalthak concluded. "Multiple equipment failures created a dangerous situation, but no intentional violence occurred. The human delegates appear to have assisted the injured parties and called for help appropriately." Vextar's roar of frustration echoed through the chamber. "You cannot be this blind. The human is not what he appears to be." "What do you believe he is?" Nalthak asked patiently. "A soldier. A killer. A weapon disguised as a diplomat." Security Chief Nalthak consulted his records again. Ambassador Park Hyunwoo's background shows 30 years of diplomatic service, advanced degrees in interspecies relations and galactic law, and commendations for peaceful resolution of 7 major territorial disputes. There is no military service listed in his official records. This was technically true. Hyun-woo's military records were classified at levels that did not appear in standard diplomatic databases. To access his real service history, an investigator would need authorization from Earth's highest military command and knowledge of classification codes that only a handful of humans possessed. As the security teams prepared to leave, one of the injured aliens made a final, desperate attempt to reveal the truth. The Krillian delegate, still groggy from his impact with the wall, pointed an accusing claw at Hyun-woo. "Check his blood," the alien gasped. When Vextar struck him, he bled silver. No normal human has silver blood. Security teams immediately requested a blood sample from Hyun-woo, who cooperated fully. The analysis showed standard human blood chemistry with normal iron-based oxygen transport. No trace of silver or any other unusual metals appeared in the results. What the scanners could not detect was that Hyun-woo's enhanced metabolism had already broken down and eliminated the temporary silver compounds that had leaked from his damaged enhancement systems. His body's repair mechanisms had sealed the minor injuries and flushed all evidence of his modifications from his bloodstream within minutes of the attack. "The blood analysis shows normal human physiology," Nalthak announced. "No unusual elements or compounds detected." As the security teams finally departed, escorting the injured aliens to medical facilities, Hyun-woo turned to his companions with a slight smile. The enhancement protocols were already shutting down, returning his body to normal diplomatic parameters. In a few hours, he would once again be indistinguishable from an ordinary human civilian. "Well," he said, straightening his jacket, "that was educational." Sora was monitoring communication channels throughout the station, watching as word of the incident spread through the alien delegations. The story is already changing as it moves through the rumor networks. Some species are saying the Vorthak delegation suffered equipment failures during a private meeting. Others are claiming the humans were attacked, but somehow survived unharmed. "Let them talk," Hyun-woo said. "Uncertainty serves our purposes better than clear explanations." Minho was examining the disabled alien weapons with professional interest. Their technology is impressive but overly complex. Too many components that can be disrupted by electromagnetic interference. Earth's military engineers will find this analysis useful. "Speaking of Earth's military," Sora said, checking her encrypted messages, "Lee Taemin wants a full briefing on alien combat capabilities, and the President wants to know if we should adjust our membership application strategy." Hyun-woo considered the question carefully. The failed assassination attempt had revealed several important facts about galactic politics. Some species were willing to use murder to prevent Earth from gaining council membership, which suggested they viewed humanity as a genuine threat to the existing power structure. But their methods had been crude, and their planning inadequate, which suggested they did not truly understand what they were dealing with. "Tell Taemin that alien military technology is advanced but predictable," he said. "Their tactics rely heavily on overwhelming firepower and assume that diplomatic personnel are helpless civilians. They have not adapted to fighting enemies who might be both diplomats and soldiers." And the President's question about strategy? "Tell him we proceed as planned. Tonight's events actually strengthen our position. We have demonstrated that humans can defend themselves without becoming aggressors, and we have done so while maintaining diplomatic protocols and showing restraint." Riso, 3 humans made their way back to their quarters through corridors that now seemed different than before. Other delegations they passed looked at them with new expressions, no longer seeing simple representatives from a young species, but recognizing something more complex and potentially dangerous. Word of the incident was spreading faster than security. Reports could travel. Alien delegates whispered to each other in a dozen different languages, sharing theories about what had really happened in the industrial sector. Some claimed the humans had revealed hidden weapons. Others insisted the entire event was staged. A few suggested that Earth's diplomatic mission was actually a military reconnaissance operation in disguise. Back in their quarters, Hyun-woo sat at his desk and began composing his official report to the council. He wrote in clear, simple language that described the evening's events as a regrettable misunderstanding caused by equipment failures and cultural miscommunication. He expressed concern for the injured delegates and offered Earth's assistance in investigating the technical problems that had caused the accident. The report made no mention of enhanced human capabilities, military backgrounds, or defensive technologies. It read exactly like what a confused diplomat might write after witnessing an inexplicable series of equipment failures that had somehow left him unharmed while injuring everyone around him. "Sir," Sora said, looking up from her analysis of the alien communication intercepts, "the Vorthak delegation is requesting an emergency council session. They want to present evidence that Earth's diplomatic mission poses a security threat to the station." "What evidence do they have?" Hyunwoo asked. The emergency council session stretched through the night as delegates from 47 worlds tried to understand what they had witnessed. In private chambers throughout the station, species leaders held urgent meetings that would reshape galactic politics for generations to come. The Eldaran delegation gathered in their harmony chamber, their crystalline bodies resonating with frequencies that expressed deep concern. Elder Silandra, oldest of their kind, spoke in tones that made the walls themselves sing with worried melodies. The human ambassador moved with precision that exceeds our understanding of biological possibility, she sang to her companions. His responses were calculated, efficient, and demonstrated remarkable restraint. This suggests training far beyond what any diplomatic corps should possess. The synthesoid delegation processed data with mechanical efficiency, their artificial minds analyzing every recorded detail of the previous evening's events. Prime Unit Kexara compiled statistics that troubled their logical frameworks. Probability calculations indicate zero chance that 12 armed beings could simultaneously experience equipment failure while surrounding 3 unarmed diplomats, Kexara announced to his fellow machines. The humans demonstrated capabilities that our models cannot explain using known biological parameters. In the Krillian war chamber, delegates who prided themselves on understanding combat examined weapon discharge patterns and injury reports. War leader Grokthar, scarred veteran of 100 battles, studied the tactical analysis with growing unease. The human did not fight, he growled to his subordinates. He educated. Every action was measured to disable without killing, to demonstrate capability without causing permanent harm. This level of controlled violence requires training that spans decades. The most disturbing analysis came from the Vorthak military command. General Kexnor examined his son Vextar's injuries and equipment damage with the eye of a professional soldier. What he found challenged everything the Vorthak believed about warfare and species dominance. The human knew exactly how to disable our shield generators, Kexnor reported to the Emergency Military Council. He understood the harmonic frequencies that would collapse Zalari energy barriers. He predicted Matharian sonic weapon patterns and used them against their own allies. This knowledge cannot be acquired through casual observation. Throughout the station, intelligence networks that had operated in secret for centuries began sharing information with unprecedented urgency. The peaceful Pakari opened their classified databases. The merchant Yilian revealed trade route security reports. Even the mysterious Shadowkin emerged from their dimensional hiding places to contribute data about human activities in the outer systems. The picture that emerged terrified them all. Every human colony world was defended by orbital platforms that appeared civilian but showed energy signatures consistent with military installations. Human cargo ships traveled with escort vessels that carried no identifying markings but moved with military precision. Human settlements on frontier worlds were laid out in patterns that suggested defensive planning by experienced military engineers. "We have been watching the wrong things," reported intelligence coordinator Zilvan of the Yilian Commercial Alliance. "We studied their technology and population growth while ignoring their organizational structures. Every human colony is a potential military base. Every civilian ship can be converted to military use within hours." The Zalari Council of Ancients convened an emergency session in their temporal isolation chamber, where they could deliberate without interference from the normal flow of time. Ancient Veltara, who had lived for 10,000 years and witnessed the rise and fall of dozens of species, spoke with profound unease. "I have seen warrior races before. she told her fellow ancients. I have watched species that bred for combat and lived only for conquest. But humans are different. They are warriors who choose to be diplomats, predators who prefer to be peaceful. This combination is more dangerous than pure aggression because it cannot be predicted or contained. Meanwhile, Earth's intelligence networks had been monitoring every communication channel on the station. Lee Tae-min sat in his office beneath the mountains of Korea, watching real-time analysis of alien reactions to the previous night's events. His screens showed private conversations, classified military briefings, and secret alliance discussions from species across the galaxy. The Vorthak are calling for an immediate military response, he reported to Earth's Leadership Council. They want to assemble a fleet and attack our outer colonies before we can prepare defenses. What about the other species? Asked President Park Si-woo, Hyun-woo's distant cousin who had been elected largely on his promise to expand Earth's presence among the stars. Mixed reactions. The Eldorans are scared but impressed. The Synthesoids are recalculating their alliance strategies. The Krillians are showing something that might be respect. But 15 species are actively discussing ways to contain or eliminate the human presence in their territories. Defense Minister Kim Jae-sung leaned forward in his chair. Should we recall the diplomatic mission? No, the president said firmly. Hyun-woo knew the risks when he accepted this assignment. Earth needs to know where we stand with the galactic community, and running away now would confirm their worst fears about human intentions. Back on the station, the morning brought a series of private meetings that would determine humanity's future among the stars. Species representatives approached the human delegation with careful proposals, each one trying to understand how much Earth really knew about galactic politics and military capabilities. The Pakari delegation offered a mutual defense treaty, claiming they needed protection from aggressive neighbors. Their real purpose was to gain access to human military advisors who could help them understand Earth's tactical methods. The Yilian merchants proposed exclusive trade agreements, hoping to corner the market on human technology before other species could access it. They had calculated that even limited access to Earth's enhancement technologies could revolutionize warfare throughout their trade networks. 3 smaller species offered to support Earth's Council membership in exchange for military protection. They had been bullied by larger neighbors for centuries, and saw alliance with humanity as their chance to gain independence. Each meeting followed the same pattern. The aliens would make their proposals while carefully studying Hyun-woo's reactions, trying to determine how much he knew about their real motivations. Hyun-woo would respond with diplomatic courtesy, while revealing nothing about Earth's true capabilities or intentions. The Synthesoids want to exchange computational technologies, Sora reported after another private meeting. But they're really trying to analyze human decision-making processes. They think our unpredictability comes from some kind of quantum cognitive enhancement. The Krillians offered to train human warriors in their combat techniques, Minho added. They seem to believe we need their help to reach our full potential as fighters. Hyun-woo found both offers amusing, but maintained his diplomatic composure. What did you tell them? That Earth appreciates their generous offers and will consider all proposals carefully, Sora replied. Standard diplomatic delay tactics while we gather more information about their real motivations. The real revelation came during a private communication from Lee Tae-min, transmitted through channels so secure that even Earth's allies could not intercept them. The intelligence chief had disturbing news about the scope of the anti-human conspiracy. The assassination attempt was just the beginning, Tae-min reported. We've intercepted communications indicating that 19 species have formed a secret alliance to prevent Earth from gaining Council membership. They call themselves the Containment Coalition, and they believe human expansion must be stopped by any means necessary. What's their next move? Hyun-woo asked. They're planning to present evidence to the Council that Earth has been secretly militarizing its colonies and preparing for galactic conquest. They claim to have recordings of human military communications and surveillance data showing hidden weapons installations. Sora looked up from her tablet with concern. Do they actually have such evidence? Some of it is real, Tae-min admitted. Our colonies do have defensive installations, and our ships do carry military-grade equipment. But they're interpreting normal defensive measures as proof of aggressive intent. Hyunwoo understood the situation immediately. Earth was caught in the classic newcomer's dilemma: appear weak and invite attack, or appear strong and confirm fears about human aggression. The previous night's demonstration had shown that humans were stronger than the galaxy expected, but it had also triggered exactly the kind of fear-based response that Earth had hoped to avoid. "Sir," Minho said, monitoring station security channels, "we have another problem. 3 species have requested permission to bring additional cultural advisors to the station. The ship manifests show they're actually military specialists." "They're escalating," Hyunwoo realized. The containment coalition is preparing for another attempt, this time with professional soldiers instead of angry diplomats. The afternoon brought news that confirmed their worst fears. The Vorthak military had dispatched a cruiser carrying what they claimed was an honor guard for their delegation. The final council session began with an atmosphere of tension that made the crystal walls of the station seem to vibrate with nervous energy. Delegates from 47 worlds filled the great spherical chamber, their eyes focused on the 3 humans who sat calmly in their assigned positions near the bottom of the assembly. Vextar stood before the council with holographic evidence displays showing the damage to alien equipment and personnel from 2 nights before. His voice carried righteous anger as he presented his case against Earth's membership application. "Fellow councilors," he declared, "we have gathered evidence that proves the human delegation poses an immediate threat to galactic security. Their so-called diplomats possess military enhancements and weapons that they use to attack peaceful representatives during a cultural ceremony." The evidence he presented was impressive and technically accurate. Medical scans showed precise injury patterns that suggested expert combat training. Weapon analysis revealed systematic disabling techniques that required intimate knowledge of alien technology. Security footage showed equipment failures that followed patterns consistent with electronic warfare attacks. When Vextar finished his presentation, the chamber fell silent. 47 species waited to hear how Earth would respond to accusations that could justify immediate military action against human colonies. Hyunwoo stood slowly and walked to the center of the speaking platform. He carried only his translation device and a small datapad that contained Earth's formal response to the charges. His movements were calm and measured, showing no sign of the enhanced capabilities that had allowed him to defeat 12 opponents without permanent injury. "Honorable delegates," he began, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber's acoustics. "The Vorthak representative has presented evidence of events that occurred 2 nights ago. He interprets this evidence as proof of human aggression and deception. I would like to offer an alternative interpretation." The holographic displays changed, showing the same evidence from different analytical perspectives. Where Vextar saw proof of military training, Earth's analysis showed natural human reflexes enhanced by adrenaline stress responses. Where the Vorthak identified advanced weapons, human scientists demonstrated how standard diplomatic equipment could interfere with poorly shielded alien technology. Earth acknowledges that our representatives possess capabilities that exceed galactic norms for diplomatic personnel. Hyunwoo continued. "This is not because we sent soldiers disguised as diplomats, but because we believe that effective diplomacy in a dangerous galaxy requires people who can protect themselves and others when peaceful methods fail." He gestured to Sora and Minho, who stood with quiet dignity despite being the focus of an entire galaxy's attention. "My colleagues are indeed former military personnel who chose to dedicate their skills to peaceful purposes. Earth's diplomatic corps recruits from our best and brightest, regardless of their previous careers." The synthesoid delegation processed this information with mechanical efficiency. Prime Unit Kexara spoke in precisely modulated tones that carried no emotion, but conveyed deep analytical interest. "You admit that your diplomatic mission includes personnel with military training and enhancement technologies. How does this differ from the aggressive infiltration that Councillor Vexitar describes?" Hyunwoo had prepared for this question. "The difference lies in purpose and restraint. When attacked by 12 armed beings in an isolated location, my team could have responded with lethal force. Instead, we chose to disable our attackers without permanent injury and render aid to the wounded. This demonstrates not aggressive intent, but the kind of controlled response that effective peacekeeping requires. A murmur ran through the chamber as delegates considered the implications. Several species had their own enhanced diplomatic personnel, though none admitted this publicly. The idea that Earth had simply been more honest about their capabilities was both refreshing and disturbing. Elder Silandra of the Eldarans rose to speak, her crystalline form catching the chamber's light and throwing rainbow patterns across the walls. Ambassador Hyunwoo, your explanation raises important questions about the nature of galactic diplomacy. If Earth's representatives require military training to function effectively, what does this suggest about the safety of our current political system? It suggests that honest species must be prepared to deal with dishonest ones, Hyunwoo replied. Earth hopes for a galaxy where diplomats can work without fear of violence, but we are realistic about current conditions. The Krillian war leader Grokthar stood, his massive form commanding attention through sheer physical presence. The human speaks truth about galactic realities. Many species maintain the fiction that council politics are peaceful while secretly preparing for warfare. At least Earth admits that their diplomats can defend themselves. This acknowledgement from the galaxy's most respected warrior culture shifted the mood in the chamber. If the Krillians, who valued combat prowess above all else, approved of Earth's approach, other species began reconsidering their positions. But the containment coalition was not finished. The Zalari delegate activated a temporal display that showed probability calculations extending thousands of years into the future. Ancient Veltara's voice carried the weight of millennia as she addressed the chamber. We have calculated potential, futures based on human expansion patterns, she announced. In 63% of scenarios, Earth's colonies dominate this galactic sector within 500 years. In 37% of scenarios, human military capabilities lead to conquest of neighboring species. The risk of accepting them into the council may be too great to ignore. Hyunwoo listened to the translation with interest rather than anger. The Zalari calculations were probably accurate based on the data they possessed, but they were missing crucial information about human psychology and Earth's long-term goals. Honored Ancient, he said, bowing respectfully to the Zalari delegate, your calculations assume that Earth's expansion will continue to follow patterns that other species have established. But humans have a different approach to growth and development. He activated his own holographic display, showing carefully selected data about Earth's colonial activities. The information revealed something that surprised many delegates. Human expansion was slowing down rather than accelerating, and new colonies were being established through careful negotiation with existing species rather than through conquest. Earth could have claimed 40 systems by now, Hyunwoo explained. Our ships are fast enough and our technology is advanced enough to establish colonies wherever we choose. Instead, we have limited ourselves to 12 systems, all of them previously uninhabited, and we have sought permission from neighboring species before beginning any terraforming projects. The Pakari delegate, whose species had been bullied by aggressive neighbors for centuries, spoke with obvious surprise. You voluntarily limit your expansion, even when you possess the power to take whatever you desire? Especially because we possess that power, Hyunwoo replied. Earth has learned that strength without wisdom leads to destruction. We prefer to grow slowly and sustainably, rather than quickly and destructively. This concept was alien to most species in the chamber. Throughout galactic history, the pattern had been simple: develop military superiority, expand aggressively, dominate weaker neighbors, repeat until resources were exhausted or stronger enemies emerged. The idea that a species might choose restraint was almost incomprehensible. You claim to value restraint, Vextar said, his voice still carrying traces of pain from his injuries. But you refuse to share your military technologies with the Council. How can we trust a species that hoards weapons while preaching peace? Earth is willing to share defensive technologies with species that prove they can be trusted with them, Hyunwoo answered. But we will not provide weapons to those who would use them for conquest or oppression. And who decides which species can be trusted? Demanded the Matharian delegate. The same way any relationship develops, Hyunwoo said, through time, observation, and mutual respect. Earth does not claim the right to judge other species, but we do claim the right to choose our partners carefully. The debate continued for hours as delegates argued about the implications of accepting humanity into the galactic community. Some species saw Earth's military capabilities as a stabilizing force that could protect smaller civilizations from aggressive neighbors. Others viewed human restraint as evidence of hidden long-term planning that might be even more dangerous than open aggression. During a recess, Hyunwoo met privately with several key delegations. The conversations were careful and formal, but they revealed the true concerns that drove galactic politics. The Eldarans wanted assurance that Earth would not use its technologies to upset the careful balance that had maintained peace for thousands of years. Hyunwoo provided that assurance while pointing out that the current balance relied heavily on fear and mutual intimidation, rather than genuine cooperation. The synthesoids requested access to human computational methods, hoping to understand how Earth's people could make intuitive leaps that their logical processes could not match.